Hello, avid readers, book nerds, and casual observers. Welcome to the Read Along brought to you by the Lit Round Table. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Anna, and this is our read along of A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Eileen. What is that? Is that our intro music?
Yeah.
Week 1, talking about the chapters 1 through 6.
1 through 6.
This is tricky because I just started another read along with my kiddos, and we just did chapters prologue through 5. But that's not what we did. We did 1 through 6.
It's obnoxious.
I know. It's going to be like weirdly similar for the first couple, but it's fine.
Does this book have chapter names?
No.
Okay, just numbers.
But they have numbers, which I appreciate.
Easy. Yeah.
So
for sure.
We've not always been that lucky. So, okay. First impressions.
I am really curious to see how this magic system evolves as we read with the whole tea brewing.
Mm-hmm.
That is, like, all these different teas can do all these different things. And I'm very curious to see what other abilities these different teas will grant.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about that.
Yeah. I love the description that was given to Ning's mother about how she knew everything that went into the tea. She knew where the water came from. She knew what hands had touched the teapots and the teacups, and she had made them herself, and she picked all the tea herself. Like, she knew the origins of everything that went into her teas. And like that level of attention and care is so heartwarming and just makes her death so much more tragic, to lose someone who cared that much about people. Ugh.
Yeah. Very admirable to see the attention to detail that her mother had for her craft.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm going to need to get the physical copy of this book.
Yeah.
Because I'm having a harder time with the audiobook for this one. I think that I'm just used to a certain way that people read for the audiobooks, and it's something about this one. It's like some of her words kind of blend together a little more, so it's harder for me to, like, I feel like I miss words sometimes. So I think I'm going to have to get the physical copy. Also, the names will be much easier for me if I can read it and not just listen to it. Because some of those are challenging for my American ears.
Yeah. So I suppose we should put we're going to do our best here to say words correctly, but our Western tongues do not make Eastern sounds super well.
Yeah.
So bear with us. We're doing our best. And we will give it our all.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you adjust like the speed that the narration was going at all?
Yeah, I normally do 1.2, and I had to go back down to 1 because I couldn't, like, I couldn't do the 1.2 like I normally do without feeling like I was stumbling along. But
yeah, mine was set to 1.5 when I opened this one, which I think
That's
must.
weird.
Well, okay, so this book was on my list of like books for class to, like, I did that presentation on, which we didn't have to read the books for, but I was like, I'm going to read the books. I did not get it read because we had like a bajillion books for class to read. But I think my intent was to listen to it quickly, and so I had bumped up the speed, and I didn't get very far. So then today, or yesterday, I guess, when I tried to listen to it at 1.5, I was like, oh, nope, I can't do it. I had to go back down to 1.2. But maybe I should try to go back to just 1 and see how that goes.
Yeah, I had a better time with 1. Even then, like I said, sometimes the enunciation wasn't what I was used to.
I think it's probably important to note that this is a YA, and so it's possible that the narrator is approaching it from like a YA perspective, like a young adult perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't know if she's done any audiobooks with a lot of Asian vocabulary, so it could be a. I don't know who the narrator is. Did you look up who it was?
I did. They have also done some audiobooks. They've done other ones on Audible anyway, and a lot of them also had Asian sounding authors.
Oh.
Yes, so and she pronounces the names of things very well. It's just difficult for me to remember the words if I don't also read them. So I'm going to probably switch over, or maybe I'll do like a mix of both. Maybe I've just been listening to whoever narrates The Gentleman Bastards for too long.
That's fair. It's very possible.
Just got used to it. Same with like when I was listening to Stormlight Archive. Kate Redding and Michael, I forget his last name, but it's Mike and Kate. They're the ones that do all of Brandon Sanderson's books usually. Anyway, so it'll take some getting used to for the audiobook for this one. I'll probably switch over to the physical book, but that's okay.
Well, we're making a drastic genre shift too. So, yeah. These are hiccups. These are normal hiccups.
Yeah. And we're back in first person now, which also takes some more getting used to. I don't read a lot of first person, so it's
I don't either.
not familiar for me. Yeah.
Actually, I guess I've done more first person since reading like not YA, middle grade, but yeah, it is different for sure.
When when I was listening to this section, the part where, okay, so basically, she's going to the Capitol. She wants to
win this competition and become the Shinong. I've always said Shinong Shi, but it's pronounced Shinong She, I think, in the audiobook.
Yeah, or Shu. It's close. It's in there.
Yeah.
Shinong Shu. But she wants to go win this contest so that she can be the Shinong Shu for like the princess, right? Which will give her access to all kinds of medicines and help for her sister who was poisoned, and she feels responsible because like she let the poison slip by her and it's what killed her mom. So she's got like this, the angsty protagonist guilt.
Yeah.
When it's like, who's actually guilty? The one who poisoned the T block. But
yeah. Yeah. That was a pretty dramatic reveal. It happens really early.
Yeah.
Where we find out that she brewed the tea. And her mom was still like with it enough to make a tincture for her sister to vomit. Which has prolonged her sister's life, but not quality of life. She's pretty miserable.
She's on the struggle bus for sure.
I also thought it was interesting that her mother was a Shinong She.
It sounds closer to Shu to me when she's saying it on the audiobook. Shinong Shu.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like okay. Who's like, so like their role is fairly prophetic. Like they read tea leaves, which like that's something we've heard of before. But they can also like, it's fairly medicinal too in a lot of instances. And then her father is also a physician. So like two very different ways of caring for people in their family. And her father's done everything he can for her sister and like to no avail. And her sister can't stand like blood. So of the two sisters, Ning, our protagonist, had like followed her father's footstep or was following his lead and was going to become like the physician's daughter and like take on his practice. And her sister was going to do the tea making. But now she's been forced into the tea making role.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting dynamics there for sure.
It was also interesting when she talked about the night that her mother and sister were poisoned. She could see in the steam from the tea there was like a serpent in the steam, and she
Yeah.
didn't think anything of it. But now she's like, oh, that meant that it was poison. So I was like, ooh, this is going to be like a really interesting. Like they see things in the steam, they're
Mm-hmm.
reading the tea leaves, and now we also see later on, she had like a tea of courage that was like making her brave
Mm-hmm.
and more willing to do things that were a little more dangerous. There was in that last chapter, there was that like golden so and so tea
Yeah.
that like revealed secrets about people,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really interesting. So
Well, and that was
there's a lot.
that was a specific tea that her mother had asked her to bring back if she ever went to the Capitol, right? Am I remembering
Yeah,
that
and she
correctly?
well, I don't know if I remember that. I remember her saying that like just one like a handful of that stuff would be enough to like pay for food for like her and her whole family for a year. Like
Yeah.
it's like incredibly expensive tea, and this guy
Yeah.
just ordered it so casually at this
Yeah.
at this tea shop in the Capitol. So she was like kind of bitter about how casually he ordered it when it
Mm-hmm.
it's worth so much money.
Mm-hmm.
It may be that her mother did tell her that, and I just missed that.
Or
But
maybe I'm thinking of a different kind. There was something about like when her mother was still alive and healthy, like there was no threat or anything. She
mhm.
had just mentioned that when Ning went to the capital, that she would love it if she could bring back just 2 strands of, I believe it was the
Yeah.
golden tea, but because she wanted to know how it tasted.
Mm. So I forgot where I was going. Oh, I remember now. Okay, so she's leaving against her father's wishes,
Well, he
right?
doesn't
Like
know.
he would, but if he did, he would want her to stay. Is
Yeah,
the implication?
there's like strong Mulan vibes here, which is like,
Yeah.
which I feel bad even saying because whatever. But yeah, the idea of like sneaking away in the middle of the night to try and
hmm
help the family.
I mean, no lie, I did kind of have the Mulan soundtrack stuck in my head while I was reading it or listening to this because
Yeah.
it's
Mm-hmm.
reminiscent. But I also when she's traveling, she sees this person who is like masked
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing shady stuff. And the whole time I was listening to this section, all I could think of was the blue spirit from Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Mm-hmm.
How Zuko like is like a vigilante. He
Yeah.
dresses up like this blue spirit, and we go into like this crazy thing about the prince in exile,
Yeah.
and how he's like this boogeyman where he'll do all these things, and it's really interesting to hear some folklore stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then she was like, is this the exiled prince come to take me away?" But then she sees that he has one of these poison tea blocks,
Mm-hmm.
who the governor said were all destroyed.
Yeah.
And we do learn a little bit later on with some of her internal dialogue that we don't like the governor. But
Right. He is shady.
yeah,
Bad.
so in hindsight, I'm not surprised that he said that even though it wasn't true.
Mm-hmm.
So she tries to like fight this guy, and
Yeah. Which seemed like really random. I was like, oh my gosh. But she had that courage tea.
right, I was like, buddy, you really should not have drank that courage tea
She was
because you're
amped up on adrenaline for
you're
sure.
trying to fight this guy, and he's like clearly got the better of you. So, yeah, that was interesting. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating. There's a lot of like flashbacks woven into the storytelling too, which I really
mhm.
appreciate the way that it's done. It doesn't feel like we're being like info dumped at all. At least I haven't felt that way.
No, when she does bring back, or when she does decide to give us some exposition or some setting info, it seems like it flows very naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Like it comes up because of the main character's internal dialogue.
Yeah.
Like she'll see something that reminds her of this part of growing up, or she'll be having a conversation with someone, and then they'll say something that reminds her about this other part of growing up. So it's
Yeah.
like we're getting bits and pieces of backstory, and
It's very organic,
yeah, that's the good word for it. Yeah, it
yeah,
is very organic,
which
like
is fitting.
tea.
Yes.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I do like the writing style a lot so far. I mean, it does feel more YA. It's not as
And I don't mean that when I say that, I don't mean it as a derogatory thing, and I assume you don't either.
No, of course not. No, it's just I know it's a different reading level. It's not like, um, it doesn't seem as flowery as other
Mm-hmm.
books that I've read, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do appreciate their writing style and how they're bringing out the backstory of the characters. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. I liked the bit on the ferry and how she was adopted by this family to just like kind of hang
Mm-hmm.
out with them, and they took care of her. They they go to the capital every year to, what do they say? They're taking care of the family grave, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Um, so they kind of have a tradition, and there's like little kids, and that was cute.
Mm-hmm. Reminds her of her sister,
Mm-hmm.
Shu.
Yeah.
Um, they get to the capital, and this was when the story started kind of picking up for me. It's like, okay, here we go. This is the meat and potatoes of it.
I
So
mean,
we're starting.
that was only like the prologue in chapter 1. So it does it hits the action pretty quickly, really.
Yeah. Um, we get to the capital. She's taking it all in.
Mm-hmm.
The interactions that she has with the guards and with the people overseeing this contest are interesting. She's like so hesitant to give up this box that has
Mm-hmm.
all of her mom's, like you guys. It's like when someone is messing with your stuff and like they don't realize that it's like an heirloom that is
Mm-hmm.
irreplaceable,
Mm-hmm.
um, from her dead mother,
Yeah.
even though they're just seeing it as basically like a toolkit.
Right.
Like,
Well,
but
yeah.
no,
And they're like, we got you all new stuff. Like, you don't need to bring your own. In fact, you
yeah,
can't bring your own.
right,
um,
because poison.
yeah. But there's a guard that says he'll look after it for her. I hope he's trustworthy.
And oh, important to touch on, there's been a rash of tea poisonings.
Mm-hmm.
Like her mother and sister wasn't an isolated incident. So when I said before, like the governor said that they got rid of all the poison tea blocks, like they weren't the only ones that got hit. I'd be curious to know like who else did get hit
Mm-hmm.
by that, and if it was other Shunongshu people. Um, I'd be curious to know that, and I'm curious to see how that ties in with the rest of the story because I feel like we're gonna dive into some sort of like conspiracy.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
like someone's gonna try to poison the princess during this contest or something. I don't know. I feel like there's gonna be some kind of conspiratorial plot. Because I mean, the title of the book is "A Magic Steeped in Poison," so
Mm-hmm.
we're
Mm-hmm.
dealing with poison.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm just curious to see when that's going to be reintroduced back into the plot. And I'm curious to see if and when our exiled prince character that she was wrestling with returns. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if it was the prince, but
Right, but I'm just saying,
storytelling devices tell us that it probably should be the prince.
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm just going based off of that's what she
Mm-hmm.
said in her mind. Like, is that the exiled prince?
Mm-hmm.
The shady guy with these poison tea
The
blocks?
shadow. They call it the
Yeah,
shadow.
yeah. We don't actually know.
Yeah.
But, yeah. She meets some friends,
Mm-hmm.
some other Shinong 2 is what the apprentice people are called.
Right.
Um,
Right.
She meets some of her competitors, and
Which she feels pretty much like a fish out of water because she's an amateur.
right,
Because she has not been an apprentice to her mother at all.
no, flying by the seat of her pants.
Mm-hmm.
They get to go out and hunt for ingredients. They're like they have to make a tea that accompanies a meal.
Mm-hmm.
They like pull the meal out of a hat basically, and they have to go find the ingredients. They're only given a certain amount of money. It's almost gone into like some kind of weird. This feels like Iron Chef all of a sudden. Like they have to find the perfect pairing of ingredients and craft the perfect cup of tea to go with this meal. I'm like, okay, where's Alton Brown? I want him to come out and explain all the different ingredients to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I thought that was fun.
That is fun.
it's appealing to my love of cooking shows.
Yeah.
And they even they were talking about some meals that would have been fun to do, and I'm like, oh, shut up, this is making me hungry. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I had the same thought where I was like, oh, this feels familiar. Which is funny because I read a book called Morning Sun in Wuhan, and the main character in that book loves cooking too, and she plays a game that's a lot like Overcooked. So I was like, oh,
nice.
there's also cooking in this one. I love that. And yes, it does make me very hungry for like fantastic Asian cuisine.
Yes. No lie, I was like, I need to get like tonight. I'm like, after we're done recording, should I go get
Yes.
some Chinese food somewhere?
The answer
that
is
sounds
yes.
great.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So it's appealing to my love of cooking shows. I'm excited to see the contest play out, and I'm excited to see what the other people make and all that good stuff. But we got to talk about our boy, the guy that introduces himself to her while she's hunting for ingredients. Boa, Bao.
Ooh.
I forget. Like, it starts with a B.
It does. I gotta look it up. This is just in chapter 6, right? Bo. It's just spelled B-O.
We'll go Bo. Because Bao is like a bao bun, and that's a food thing. So I think I've just got food
And
on
I
the
think
mind.
Bao has an A in it.
It does.
B-A-O.
Yeah.
This is just B-O.
See, this is where seeing the printed version will be helpful for me, because I only listened. So, he calls himself Bo, she calls herself May, and they gallivant across the capital together. And it's cute.
It's cute. And then he disappears at the very end.
Yeah, because he gets tripped out because of her secret revealing tea. He's like, what do you want from me? She's like, dude, you approached me and you picked this tea. I don't know what you expected.
Yeah.
Like, my guy, you're paranoid. But he's got some stuff to hide. I mean,
Apparently.
he's got a brand on his chest. What's that about? Why is it there? Is he like a runaway slave pretending to be like upper echelon society? Like, what's his deal?
Hard to know.
Yeah.
So do you think there's going to be a love triangle between her and this boy, Bo, and her and the guard?
I thought that there was a guard who said he was from the same place as one of her friends, competitor people.
And the one that was going to keep track of her box.
They're two different guards, though, right?
I'm talking about the one with the
same.
box. I don't know if they're the same guard or not, I guess.
I don't think they were. But maybe?
You guys,
It's early.
you know, it is early, and you know how much I struggle with setting. Like the first quarter of a book, I'm just like...
It's a struggle for you.
It's a struggle for me. I don't know what that is, though. Why is that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what it is.
I love reading so much. Why is it so hard? So I'll admit that, like, I know that I'm struggling to, like, feel grounded in the story at this point, and it doesn't help that I also started a book for my other book club at the same time. So I apologize.
Yeah. I'm struggling with the setting right now because I haven't been able to see the words, so it's harder for me to remember them.
Right.
But
I'm not...
Bo is easy.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the name of the capital is.
Ooh.
I don't remember the name of the country.
Yeah. So I'm not feeling very grounded in the story, but I'm also having a hard time feeling grounded in the characters because I feel like we met a lot of characters all at once. And I'm going to have to reread these first couple chapters.
Yeah, honestly, I might do the same. For sure, the ones from like when she gets into the capital, because I want to be able to see like the names of these people she's meeting, and go from there. But with that being said, I'm still having a great time.
Yeah, me too.
I'm still really enjoying it.
I just feel bad because I feel like I didn't plan enough time, and I didn't plan out my other book starting at the same time very well.
Yeah, I mean, life happens. I'm waiting for my physical copy to show up. That's my problem.
Yeah. There's a book 2.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw there's a second book in this. And the title for that one was Metal. What was the title for that one?
A Venom Dark and Sweet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. A Venom Dark and Sweet. Wow.
Okay, we were talking about the love triangles. I'm sorry, we got totally derailed.
Basically, maybe I could see it happening. I think it's too early to tell. I feel like she has more of a connection with this Bo guy, and I feel like us as readers have more of a connection to him because we've actually learned some things about him, and I'm
That's
curious
true.
to hear what his secrets are and like what his deal is.
That's true.
With the guard guy, I'm like, okay, you're a guard.
Okay, but there's usually a love
You know,
triangle. So,
is that a thing in YA?
yeah.
There's like there has to be a love
There doesn't
triangle.
have to be. There just usually is.
I mean, like Hunger Games did it,
Yeah.
but I'm excited to see what happens next. So, our boy, when she makes this secret revealing tea, freaks out and he's like, "What do you want with me?" After they had this cute day in the city eating candy together, and like he's showing her all the
Yeah.
sights and it's cute, and like he gets too close at one moment and like he like speaks into her ear a little too close and she gets all shivery and it's like, ooh, I'm a hormonal mess. I can't
It was
handle
pretty cute.
yeah, I can't handle this. Blushing, kicking my feet. And then we get from that to like, what do you want with me? I'm done here. Peace out. And then he
Yeah, our
just like
bargain's done.
leaves.
And then he
Yeah.
vanishes. And she's like, what? And then our reading ended. So it's like, oh, I can't even. Okay.
Yeah. So,
What happens next? Nobody knows.
I mean, she was planning on ghosting him pretty much. Like, she wasn't expecting to ever have to see him again after this encounter.
Right.
So, right now, she's kind of like, it's no skin off my back, you know? Like, I guess my life will go on. Just weird. But, I mean,
He's a named character. He's coming back.
yeah, right. It would be odd if he never came back.
Right. The guards that don't have names, which is why we can't tell them apart, less good odds in their
Yeah.
favor.
Or their red shirts, you know, they're gonna get poisoned.
Could be. Okay,
Um,
the poison. What do you think the intent was? Do you think that the intent is to take out the Shinung Shu? Or,
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if there's some kind of attempt to kill the people that have this magical ability, which, what a way to do it. Why are you going to try to poison their tea when they're like tea sorcerers? Like, I mean, it worked in this one case, but I have to imagine that if her mom had been making the tea, her mom would have noticed,
yeah.
you know, and not drank it. So I don't
Right.
know. Maybe it's someone's really uneducated attempt at trying to kill the Shinangshu. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I'm curious to find out more about that too. I don't really have many theories into that yet, other than
Yeah.
maybe they're trying to kill all the magical people.
Right.
But-
It just seems like a very, like, not targeted, but targeted attack. Like, the intent is to harm people. But, like, who?
Yeah. And conveniently, a Shinangshu died. Like, were the other ones that got thrown out there just kind of like distractions to make it look
Right.
less intentional, you know? So, but conveniently, a Shinangshu died. Interesting. And you know there's more stuff about her mom's history with the Capitol.
Oh, yeah.
You know that her mom has something's going to come out where they're going to find out who her mom was, and they're going to be like, "Oh, she was the best Shunong-su I've ever seen in my life. She was so gifted, and she dropped off the face of the earth when she found a husband and moved away. And you're her daughter? Wow, no way." It's going to be kind of like a chosen one trope, but not really. Like it's you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, she feels like the substitute for the chosen one, I think, is how she
Right.
perceives herself.
Yeah. That's my prediction. I think it's gonna be revealed that her mother was like a super duper skilled, used to be the Shunong-shu for the emperor himself, or some
Yeah.
crazy thing. I'm expecting some kind of reveal like that to come out soon, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Maybe. I wouldn't put it past him.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next chunk,
Me too.
which is
Which is chapter 7 through, flips the page, 12.
12.
7 through 12. So
Yeah, when I saw the reading assignment, I'm so used to Gentleman Bastards where it's like 2 chapters, but it's like a big chunk, even though it's only 2 chapters, and then it's like 6 chapters. What? Oh, we're back to normal size chapters now.
yeah,
Like,
yes.
yeah,
And even that,
but
like, compared to the 2 chapters for the Gentleman Bastards would be like, how many? 200 pages. Something
yeah, this is a
stupid.
shorter book overall,
Yeah.
But
It wouldn't really be 200
Anyway.
pages, but it would be a good 100, I bet.
yeah,
So, anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
I'll be more grounded next time.
Same, because I'll have a physical copy next time
Yeah.
that I will be reading. So apologies, fellow readers, if we didn't seem quite on our A game with this one, but it'll get better, promise.
We're just being real and authentic with you.
Yeah, we're figuring our lives out. Lots of real life stuff happening too that makes things stressful.
Facts.
So, anyway, I guess, how do we close these things with the read-alongs? I guess until next time, happy reading.
And we'll talk to you next time.
Later.
Bye.